And we're on. Welcome back to Change Yourself, Change the World, episode X. Um, yeah, we're just gonna go right to it. We were just talking about something that I just recently started doing, which was reading the I don't even know how to pronounce it. Bhagavad Bhagavad Gita?
So yeah, Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. It's pronounced Bhagavad, but I've never heard it pronounced Bhagavad.
Yeah,
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad. It's like a term of endearment too.
Gita.
Like uh, like you can like certain masters. They're called Bhagavani.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like a term of endearment and like a love for the master.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean the first couple of books, I didn't read the preface because I was like, just trying to read the book. But the first couple of pages is just like it's kind of funny. I think the Christian Bible should have done this as well. It tells you to put yourself into a subservient kind of mode. So it from the get-go is like, all right, if you're gonna read this, you're gonna have to read it with the idea, even if it's illusionary, like they even make it, even if it's just made up, just the possibility there that Lord Krishna is well, they have tons of titles of him, but he basically the being. I don't know. A Buddhist is called the Anointed One or Enlightened One or Supreme One. Similar names are being called to Krishna. So I think it's a good idea to just say, okay, so before all your biases and all the bullshit you have in your head, before you read this with all the crap in your head, just know that you have to put yourself below Krishna. And I'm like, well, if the Bible would have done it, it would have. The Bible kind of tells you you are below him, but I don't think it just literally in the first couple of pages doesn't say it like that. I think it would have been helpful.
yeah, well, the Bible does it too. Actually, Hinduism, like you were saying in on the chat on our chats, that it is actually pretty similar to Christianity. Like that whole Bhagavad Gita is actually pretty similar to the Christianity attitude,
Right.
except it's like a blend of Christianity with the Buddhist stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean it's the root of everything basically. Like there were books that talk about how Jesus went over to the east to cultivate there. Buddha got enlightened after um, mastering the Hindu samadhis, and then he discovered the same thing, of a path, a very scientific path to and getting out of the in Hinduism it's called koshas, the confines of our mind, the body, the mind, the thoughts, our karmic habits, and consciousness itself. Those five things um, Hinduism talks about in their own terms. Buddhism talks about in its own terms. I mean, a lot of other religions talk about it too, in their own terms. Those five general things. But yeah, the reason I think it's very similar to Christianity is because there's like a massive war in this Bhagavad Gita, right? And there's a savior, and same thing with in Christianity. There's all these wars and all the suffering, and that's in those
Right.
times, and and then there's a savior, and this savior is representative of that of that fundamental entity. In Christianity, they say that he's the son of God. He is God himself, basically. Um, and same thing with, is it Shiva or Arjuna?
Krishna.
Shiva,
Well, it doesn't. No,
Krishna, right?
not
Krishna he's the form of the
right.
God, right? He's
Right.
like
Right. He
Jesus.
is the supreme one. Yeah, he is the. There's tons of names, and I'm like, man, dude. I mean, but if you're trying to show respect, I mean, if you put yourselves in their shoes and you're trying to show ultimate respect to a deity of immense powers and knowledge and with whatever everything, then you would just as easily throw out these words, these descriptions, because yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. If putting
it's
yourself
this.
in a subservient mode, you do go into sire, into this, into that, and similar to what Christians do when they put God above them and above basically everything. And yeah,
I wouldn't call it subservient, but yeah, subservient is a piece of it. I would call it like a loving attitude. Just think about like
right,
the love for your king, the love for someone who is taking care of everyone,
right,
and like who's responsible, because being a king, being a leader is a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of work. I personally don't like leadership positions. I'm very careful about, before I take on a leadership position. I'm very, very careful that I'm otherwise, one, I'm gonna fuck it up and just bounce, and two, I'm not gonna just not if I'm not really ready for it, I just won't like it. I'll suffer, all the way through it. Whereas if I pick a leadership position that I'm really ready for and that I'm totally wanting to do, then I would do a great job at it, and it would actually be synergistically making me happier as a person. So, yeah, I gotta love the leaders, because um, I think we have a lot of humanity has, and society has a lot of interesting laws intertwined in society to make sure that only that there's benevolent leaders. Like, we tend to only have, like, kind of veering off topic, but we tend to only have, like, either really good leaders or really bad leaders,
Well,
because the really good leaders are the ones that that are the leaders, and then
right.
the really bad leaders are the psychopaths who can emulate and hack the social consciousness, and just kind of escape nature's natural ways of making sure that only the benevolent leaders are there. The people that are actually wanting, that really belong there. That really want to actually create good and mutualistically serve mankind.
They really belong there. This is a good point. Just to bring it back to what you were saying, I do remember when we used to throw you into leadership positions when we were in school, and we're like, dude, I don't want to fucking be the leader of this shit. You be the leader. Like, no, fuck that. Let's make Ahmed be the leader. Like, okay, we'll make Ahmed be. All right, Ahmed, you gonna be the leader. Cool. We're just like,
Yeah,
okay, that
but
worked
then
out
it's,
for us.
yeah, that bringing that up makes me kind of think, although that those doing those kind of things did make me kind of like um think about responsibility, and there is some sort of growth to the leadership positions. Those people in the middle who aren't quite leaders and aren't quite, everyone's gotta grow. No one comes out of their mom's womb like all fully leadered out and um
Except
100%
Jesus.
who they are.
Jesus did.
Except Jesus.
Jesus kind of did. That's they tell me.
Same thing with Buddha. Like, there's some of those fairy tale stories where he's like, he comes out of the womb, he takes 7 steps, and then he just stands up like as a baby, like, I will I will be the world savior, that kind of thing. And then he just goes back to being a baby.
Isn't this the same? Is it the same one like elephants from the wild came to him and like flowers started
Yeah.
blooming at some point in time? And
Yeah. It's like some beautiful scenes. Like, there's some cool mangas too. I
yeah,
really I really loved the manga, but the guy who wrote Astro Boy, he wrote a manga called Buddha. And it's really good. It's really beautiful artwork. All those scenes are illustrated wonderfully, and it actually, talked about some of these. It makes up some stuff too. Like, Buddha befriends one of the Shudras, like the lowest caste members in in India, right? And through him, he ends up learning a lot of things, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things missing in actually in the Buddhist stories. It doesn't go into too much of the Buddha's history.
mm,
It goes more into Buddhism's, like, Dharma itself, which I
okay.
like. Like, we don't need to know all the freaking history, but once you've kind of learned all Dharma itself, you're kind of curious about Buddha's younger life, which they really just gloss over. Like,
I want to know what happened to Buddha's son.
yeah, they talk about that too. Rahula, he gets enlightened and stuff.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
See,
he's
like,
one of the first few people that Buddha, after Buddha gains enlightenment, he heads back home, and then he gets his son enlightened, and then some of the closest disciples and stuff.
I'm telling you, man, this is why I like Dragon Ball Z, and
Yeah,
and, and it's the most. I mean, they do it through pain and training and suffering and a bunch of other things, but just the fact that they're able to break limits and achieve more and become, well, in their case it's stronger because they're looking for strength, like actual physical strength, because that's what they're about. But then is this the next generation does it at a much faster rate, and then the next generation does that at a much, like, they just go higher and harder faster and just exponentially growing. I'm like, yeah, this is a perfect example of humanity. And yeah, probably this is why when with one person gets enlightened, then they kind of just start passing the torch to other people because
Yeah, I think, like if we didn't have, I'm really conspiratorial. I think that there is some sort of force that doesn't want us enlightened, and so they threw a lot of wrenches
it,
to kick us back down a little bit here and there over, throughout our history. Otherwise, we'd be exactly like Dragon Ball Z, like just
enlightened.
transcendentally just bumping level and level. We'd never slow down, but
Yeah,
we've been kind of hindered a lot of times, I think.
we're being distracted. We're being blocked. But when you say they, what do you mean they? Let's get
Like the
deep into
banking
those
system,
conspiracy theories. But
like the
who's
bank.
controlling these banking systems? Because I it's not that I fail to believe. It's I refuse to believe. It's that I just don't think that it's purely by chance that these people are like, well, we're gonna get money. There's an ideology or a group mentality or a cult, like I don't know what the hell their real group is or what the hell their real idea is or the real people in power, but the banking cartels are not the ones in charge. They're the ones that are pushing a lot of things that we see. Those are the ones we see that are in charge. Who's really in charge of them? What entities or beings are in charge of them? Is it interdimensional reptilians like David Icke says, or is it in like what I say is a different varying amount of entities from all over existence that kind of like to mess with the human realm because we got to all the fun stuff. This is where you can come and have and be the enjoyer and be the enjoyed and like
Yeah, both are true. I mean, according to what Buddha says, Buddha talks about these things too. Um, and in the Surangama Sutra, they talk about it. But yeah, I don't see why both of those ideas can't be true. But what David Icke says, he talks about the central line of malicious
right.
reptilians. Of course, there's tons of other demonic entities that attach to us, but fundamentally, they're all the same. They're all demonic entities that exist purely based on our own feeding them, basically. And
Mm,
but we're feeding them, but at the same time, they're they're cultivating us.
mm-hmm.
You know, they're farming us.
There are formulas.
We're based. They're farming us. We're fat pigs that they just they've been growing in exactly the way they want and enslaving for a long time. Um, and that's how a lot of the things in if you look at history, like in pyramids and stuff, there's been his slavery has never not existed,
Right. Yeah, it's true.
and slavery is just totally common. Like it's kind of
It's
insane
hard.
how like it's very rooted in our history and in our even now slavery hasn't gone anywhere.
It's not. It's still
It's
there.
just now slavery is just done through it's called serfdom.
Mm-hmm.
Serfdom is basically slavery, and now they're that's the thing. The way the progress that we've had in society, we should all just be like most of us. We shouldn't be working 24/7. A lot of people are working so hard just to stay alive. And
To stay alive, it is, but it's to keep this illusion going. Though I think it's all energy. Like you say they're cultivating us, and I think they're just energy. It's like the Matrix. They have us plugged into these machines, and they're siphoning off energy. Of course, I don't really think we're plugged into those type of machines, but we give off energy. It's like they're taking their life essence, like we were talking about before, breathing your soul. It's like no, you give your focus and your energy, and you kind of just giving it to them, and then they take it in and survive or become stronger. I don't know how that works, but yeah, dude, like that's
well,
fun.
yeah, I mean, they're doing it on so many different levels, and they're actually doing it on these levels. So
Right.
they're doing it financially through this whole serfdom process.
True.
They're um, inflating the money, taking a bunch of it out, black budget, that kind of stuff. Everyone probably knows about that. And the Fed, you know, um, Occupy Wall Street. All those things should have made it very clear in most people's consciousness that humanity is being robbed blind. financial value. But there's also this energetic level. Now David Icke goes into that, and Buddha goes into it in Surangama Sutra. It's really interesting where he talks about how um, we're all like basically building these energy castles for these interdimensional beings, subtle realm beings. That's how it's called in Buddhism. It's called the subtle realm.
Mm.
So the realm, like we're all in the same place. It's just there's different layers. Uh, just like there's an electromagnetic layer. There's what are those gamma rays? They're all just going directly through the earth. They're just not hitting any of the atoms because they're so tiny. So there's all these different layers of consciousness, and these subtle realm beings, they exist on this subtle realm, this astral realm. Um, all the different cultures talk about it, but yeah, in our culture, it's called the astral realm. Um, yeah, and so what Buddha talks about, it's really interesting how in the end of the book he talks about how these castles, they as you the whole book, Sonam Sutra talks about how as you get enlightened, what happens in pretty much to these castles and these different demonic beings that they'll basically try to attach to you to use your energy to cultivate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone's probably familiar with how they use us financially and they leech on us and eat up our taxes. But this is the same thing on a energetic level. The people that cultivate, once you have like a little bit of chi going on in your body, a lot of people, they have a kundalini ignited. A lot of people have had kundalini ignited, whether in their youth, and they're just searching for, and they just get this angsty feeling like they're looking for something, but they can't quite put a finger on it. Whatever they try to do, they don't quite settle on it. But they just go from spiritual practice to spiritual practice, and they're just looking for something. They're seekers. Once you get Kundalini going, you permanently become a seeker, and until you find enlightenment, that thirst is never going to go away. In the different religions, this stage is called by different terms, but in Buddhism, it's called the stage of um, arising and passing. It's like the first stage of insight practice, enlightened practice. But yeah, like once that's energetic process gets kicked off in your body, now your body has like all this automatic energy cycles that are happening, and there's a lot of layers to it too. I mean, this isn't the real Kundalini. This is kind of like the pre-Kundalini, and then you still have to, when you really get the Kundalini to fire, then they really monetize you. So the path to enlightenment, basic summary of it, and Bill Beaudry exposes a lot of this in his book Buddha Yoga, how these other interdimensional beings, they'll attach to you um, to help you, to farm you, basically, to help you. And I mean, the farming part, it can be good, it can be bad. You can, if you, um, even if they're not necessarily kind spirits and they're not necessarily bad spirits. They're just kind of using you because when they attach to your body, that's how they cultivate. It's like a symbiotic kind of thing. They cultivate by kind of semi-possessing your energies, and then they, so if you succeed in your cultivation, they succeed. But but sometimes, for you, it's like a longer journey. It's not necessarily true that, if you're living in this day-to-day world, that you'll be able to kind of juggle the worldly life and the spiritual life at the same time, because some of these states are they're pretty engrossing, and they can be pretty imbalancing at times too. You can get like really powerful urges to all the bad things, they get exaggerated in your mind. Desire, hatred, ignorance, delusions, all these things get multiplied. And I'm saying it very generally, and because there's a lot of ways that can manifest in a person's life. So it can be like real anger, you kill someone. It can be real delusion, like you kind of estrange your whole family because you have this weird delusion and you kind of fixate on that because of the energetic process that's needing to be cultivated by that demonic possession. So you have all these nadis in our body, and these nadis correspond to um, different psychic phenomena. And so, pushing the energy through certain nadis can manifest as certain mental states. And so that entity, when you've got your energy kicking off, they might help you to do that and push it through a certain channel and stuff. But now in your daily life, that manifests in a certain way that you might not be ready for. So it's important to like have a good master, or have some sort of um,
You need a
good proper
foundation.
environment. Huh?
You need a foundation. You need to be kind of
Mm-hmm.
solid. You can't. Yeah, like, well, this is what Saguru talks about. Any type of spiritual practice you want to build upon, you need to have a good foundation. Like you yourself need to be solid before you can start trying to build anything. Because if not, you're gonna have a shitty foundation and everything come crumbling. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, I guess, yeah, man, it's the energy vampires. And the one thought I had was like, succubus. It's like that shit is real. And we had this conversation last time in the last podcast, and you said that women will live longer because they literally take our energy. And what if that shit's true? What if
No,
all
not
the
will. Women currently still
that's
actually
true.
live
Okay,
longer than
women live
men
longer
too.
because they take our
They've
energy.
always lived longer,
And what if that?
but for a lot of reasons. But
I mean, so are like these porn stars gonna live 160 years or something? Is that what's going on? Like the most famous porn stars get to live 3 lifetimes because of all the energy the men have willingly gave to her. Like, is that a possibility? I think it's hilarious if it is, and more power to them if they want to. If that's really what happens. But that,
but I think it's not purely just that they're taking sexual essence. I think it's also other things too. Women have their own cultivation process too. There's interesting Tibetan yoga books that go into that. And yeah, I'm not super versed in it, but yeah, like just basic cultivation wise, uh, if you take a man and woman, they're doing the same basic cultivation, the woman's still going to live longer just because of her, at least until the man totally achieves, enlightenment and becomes free of the body itself. It just, nature's men are disposable.
men are this
Nature
possible?
has designed men as kind of more disposable than women.
I mean, that's why we go rushing into war.
Yeah, there's so many things. There's some interesting evolutionary biology books that talk about this and how it kind of all the different dimensions of life that it propagates into. Um, just this basic thing that women have one egg per month of preciousness, and that egg is it. Whereas men, we have, every like what is it, like every minute there's hundreds of genetic possibilities being created. So I'm not sure. This is one of the most. This is I talked about that long list of motivations I've had from the male sexuality perspective, and
Mhm.
this is one of the most fascinating things to me actually.
What?
Like, we men have this massive sexual potential. What happens to it when you've achieved the ultimate? What does all that get transformed into? Like, we definitely have way more massive sexual potential than women, and we all know energy gets converted. So this getting converted, and I think I already know the answer to this, but it's gonna actually no, I'll try to make it not sexist. Um,
Try.
yeah, Buddha talks about how remember that image I sent you about how Buddha and a lot of this religious things, they have sexist things, and they say that
Yeah.
women cannot become enlightened. Why do they say that? And what does that connect to?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it actually connects to the final stages of Buddhahood, where it talks about not the finals. stages, for the final, the last things that you, the last skills that you can develop in Buddhahood, um, which is the Nirmanakaya manifestations, where you create massive amounts of bodies, like actual physical bodies that, you know, they're called Yang Shen projections.
Oh
Really, they're
shit.
basically Kage Bunshins, you know, like,
Oh, that's cool.
but you can eject them from here
Shadow
into
clones.
normal physical self, into other astral planes, into other dimensions, basically wherever you want. You can just eject them.
So
Um,
you're becoming a Shiva in essence.
you're basically, yeah. I would, you know, going back to the sexual analogy,
Uh-huh.
you how is this correlated to you know, the whole, like, you're basically
That's dope.
ejaculating your your sperm through the whole universe.
Fucking existence.
That's basically what it is. Like, that's,
That's dope.
instead of ejaculating your vital essence into some sort of trash can, or a woman here in this life, and to create a flesh being, you're refining that essence over decades and creating a connection with the cosmic fundamental uh, essence, and you're becoming one with it. You just became one with it. So now you have the, you actually change every single cell of your being,
Mhm.
including your sperm. So you've changed all that, and then now you can, of course, convert each of those into new bodies.
That's dope.
And this connects back to what Buddha was talking about, how women can't get in line. He's not saying that women can't get in line. They just can't achieve the full enlightenment in the last stages. That's why in a lot of the Buddha stories, you know, women, once they've achieved the first parts of enlightenment, they become reborn to finish it off as a male, because the male physical body has that. You know, yeah, it goes in line with some of the things that the Taoist principle of the weakest is the strongest, and the strongest is the weakest. So, you know, women are the weaker gender, but they're actually the stronger gender. Men are the more indisposable, you know, disposable, weaker gender from another perspective, but they're the most like powerful thing in the universe from the other perspective, you know.
Interesting. Interesting. And what to move away from just the sexual energy that might come to if you don't if you don't, if it's not wasted, if that energy is not wasted, then it can turn into massive potential, like all the CEOs and all the politicians and all the leaders and all. That's just energy manifesting in different ways. That's just different. Yeah, that's just energy manifesting in different ways. So how many of those powerful people, this is what I've been looking at, how many of those powerful people are like fuckboys, or like have tons and tons and tons of fucking women just all the time? And while there are a considerable amount of rich people who are just fucking heathens, essentially, um, there's a lot of them who are married and actually have a stable-ish kind of relationship. For all we know, maybe they do some crazy shit in the back end that we don't know. All of them do, but a lot of powerful people are kind of married and stable, and aren't wasting energy and well, other ways. Like, well, I guess we're talking about multiple partners or doing stupid shit. I don't know. Everything's just focus. So either you're focused on a partner, or you're on the work, on a career, or whatever it is. Everything is just how much energy and work you're putting into it. And yeah, that's what I think about energy manifesting in different ways that are non-sexual.
Yeah. Sublimation. There's really no point in like in fucking around. Like, that's why, like, you know, I'm on like day 90 something right now, and it's just, there's really no, like, I don't, I mean, pretty much all the joys that you can get from a relationship, you can get some. I mean, the reason that it's there is because it kind of saves you from learning all the different things. You know, it saves you from the work, and it's kind of like a nature sanity check. Also, there's a lot of reason nature put this motive in us and stuff, but Um,
Neutrality check? What do you mean?
like sex, being married and stuff, and having kids, it's good for most people. Most people aren't really like, I mean, at least now we're not all enlightened, fully educated, and know about all this stuff. And in general, it's if we didn't have those kind of organized marriage system, it would be kind of dangerous because we've got all this powerful sexual energy getting converted into something, and a lot of the criminals inside society, they're converting into something, and that's
Yeah,
harm.
yeah.
And so in some sense it's kind of good that a lot of that stuff is sublimated the wrong way, um, because some of it could become sublimated into even a worse way.
Oh, so that they're just wasting the energy on throwing it in the trash can, then taking it outside and doing some fuck shit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sadly enough, I mean,
It's true.
this
That's true. They could all positively morph that energy, but
but yeah, our media and entertainment industry is definitely not directing it in a way. It's making people more depressed and to have all these expectations, um and just making them more
they're
drawn to negative things in society. But I bet if a lot of those, trashy music and trashy things in society weren't there, then it would naturally turn into a lot of it would just turn into anger and jealousy and hindrances.
regular human shit.
But now though, there's so much stuff in society just so materialistic in so many ways now, and
I'll take it a level more than just materialistic. It's very egotistic. The material world is one thing that they're involved with, but they're also very involved with this reality, and I don't know. I think it stems from this fear of death that society has. This escape, this aversion from actually talking and diving into this. So when that happens, they're really attached to this body, to their feelings, to this thing, to this. This is the one chance they're gonna get, and they're gonna do everything they want in this life because it's their one chance. And while that might be true, it can lead to very delusional mentalities and delusional actions because this is your one time that you can actually maybe it is that one time, but I don't know. That same mentality has led me to do stupid shit for which I now go, man, that was dumbass shit. Or my logic was my logic was overrun by emotions and feelings, and I claimed that to be logic, and it wasn't really logic, and it was just nonsense. So yeah, I think I'm making a shift. I'm changing myself so that I can change the world. The whole thing.
mm, yeah. Going back to that whole Hindu things, there's a lot of benefits to thinking the religious thinking, like what you're talking about. That's like the atheistic viewpoints that we're in now,
Right.
and it's lacking a lot of those critical elements that the Hindu tradition has. That
Right.
we've had a long ass history, and not just historically, but we ourselves, the small ego that we are. We've been through a lot of different bodies, and we're still not able to do anything like in terms of like cosmic consciousness. Like we're not even we're not even in the gate yet. There's so many things inside the cosmic journey. Like we're not even starting the cosmic journey because we're still kind of lost and forgetting our previous consciousness and able to be so gullible as to believe that we don't have a cosmic consciousness, and that we don't have any history, and that this is our only life.
Yeah, this is the only existence, and that no other intelligence was ever gathered before us. Like to me, that's just extremely egotistical. Hold on. There's actually hold on. There's a quote that I really got from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is what I got so far. So if a living entity says that he is not controlled, but that is he is free, then he is insane. And this is what I basically call the atheists, like the people who think they're free. It's the same thing we saw in spirit science, and every time when you cut the connections towards source, you basically went into, they call it the devil or the Satan's realm or whatever the hell, or they had to do something with Satan, and that was basically Satan. You cut the connection to source, you're now an individual by yourself. You're disconnected from everybody. You've perversed yourself. Um, Another thing it says nothing could be manifested without being controlled, and that shit actually got me. And I was thinking, yeah, you can't really manifest. Nothing can be manifested if it isn't thought upon, or if there isn't some type of action creating this manifestation. And we are a form of manifestation. What was the other one? Mm, now there's something else. I didn't write it down. But no, it's getting, it's an interesting book, and it just has, it seems very zealous, I think would be the right word. Like zealotry kind of level stuff. They're like, this is the Bible kind of feeling.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. That stuff is just juicy isn't even a good enough word for it. Zealous is the best word. It's just
Yeah,
it's
zealous.
so zesty and
Yeah,
um,
it's good,
it's,
and I
it's motivating.
yeah, I made the decision to actually read the other texts of all the other religions now, so I can so I can get some people on my posse, get all the gods in my posse.
I wonder why did we get that feeling? I just go back to thinking that, whenever I get those feelings, it's a good feeling. And not only that, but that I should dig deeper into it to kind of realign myself with my previous consciousness, because I'm pretty sure that this is stuff that I have a karmic connection to, and that I need to, like, the reason that when you get that feeling, that zesty, zealous like feeling, that you should keep doing that is because you probably have like a lot of those consciousness, it's a lot of those skills, memories, um, and cultivation states even, like because the samadhis too, you might have achieved some sort of really high level samadhi in a previous life, and in this life, you're here, but achieve the you didn't achieve the enlightenment fruit where you can become free from losing your memory basically every time you become reincarnated. Like that's one of the stages of not falling back. So you didn't climb up the river far enough to get to that point, but still, you swam around some of those rocks. You're familiar with some of those rocks, and what happens is when you try to cultivate that state again, you'll be able to get into it really fast, like way faster than normal. So that's why it's really important to like just keep following those breadcrumbs until you um, because it might not be lead exactly to there, but it's gonna be a roundabouts there. Something within that huge library of Dharma that Hinduism is. We've all probably been Hindus in a past life because it's such a massive culture, and
Yeah.
it's the most oldest culture. So we've all had previous cultivation lives in there, I think, and history we can tap into.
Just gotta tap in. I've actually been remembering things much more frequently. There were things I thought I forgotten that have nothing to do with anything, to be honest. It's just been like flashbacks of memory, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. There, obviously things that I enjoyed or things that I found interesting or whatever. It's not like I'm like, oh, okay, what the fuck? What is this? No, I'm just like surprised that these thoughts are even coming back now, and I'm like, okay. So if I'm starting to remember, how much more can I remember? I'm just, I like the possibility. I'm enjoying these things coming back. Because I used to have this thing where I kind of just forgot. I forgot everything. Like I would forget what I did 2 weeks ago or whatever the hell. Like I didn't pay much mind or attention to it. But I'm like, no, I didn't really forget. It's just my focus wasn't there. And now I'm just, things from years and decades past are just coming to me now. I'm like, huh, I thought I forgot about all of this. I guess I didn't. I remember the feeling. I remember the touch. I remember the, not the sound very much, but just I remember scenery very well, like it's a movie. And these movies are starting to come back to me, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're HD and everything. So Yeah, it's been good.
It's awesome. Yeah, I've been feeling the opposite where I've been playing games and I think it's affecting my consciousness where I just kind of like forget more.
Oh,
And I've been not playing games for the past couple of days and man, yeah, dopamine stuff. Like I thought I was avoiding some dopamine stuff, but yeah, video games and too much of social media stuff can really affect your dopamine receptors, which can inadvertently affect your memory stuff too, you know. And but yeah, I've been feeling like my a little more clear past couple of days. I've been kind of not playing games for for like several hours in a day. Yeah.
I mean, but it's fun to play games. I can go into meditative states blowing shit up.
Yeah, but at least the games that I play, I kind of play some of these arcades
Right.
maps, and they're addictive.
There you go.
They're interesting, but it's just all the it's just kind of a robotic activity that I
Right.
kind of do a lot of times, and it's probably not good. And also I think social media, all those colorful memes and dopamine hits instead of using my own basically what I'm doing at a psychological level is instead of creating in my own mind, I'm
Right.
consuming. So I'm getting used to consuming, and my brain receptors are just used to getting consuming, and that's all I was getting used to. All the creative stuff isn't getting exercise anymore, and it's just
Hmm.
diminishing.
Yeah, you're not making worlds anymore. You're just looking at them and swiping them up or down.
You know.
That's a trip. That's a trip. How do we how do we go about changing any of this, man? Either from like the energy vampires or like the dopamine hits. I mean, yeah, I think not wasting energy. Jerking off is a big ass waste of energy. Even though it seems like the greatest idea at the moment, it and you get all this nice little hormones and all these chemicals in your body rushing through after that. It really is a waste of energy. Like you have to recreate that semen. That semen you're gonna make more. You're gonna have to spend more energy to wait to make all those hormones you just released. You're gonna have to refill those reserves. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just trying to conserve energy as much as possible. Cause how do we do that? How the hell do we conserve all the? I want to be able to shoot kamehamehas, and I know I can't do that if I just keep wasting energy all the time. Goku is like the most non-sexual motherfucker ever, and that guy is an idol. How does he do it? How does he do it?
Well, I think like if at the lowest level, get to Goku part in a bit, but like the lowest level and the beginning level, if you're addicted to something, if and you can't just quit, which is what you should try to do just right away, just quit. Um, there's a lot of tricks, but I think the best trick is just to go even deeper into it. Play game 12 hours a day. See how you feel, you know? Just do nonstop gaming or just do nonstop masturbation, whatever it is. Maybe if you can't stop smoking cigarettes, just smoke all the time. See how you
Always,
feel.
all the time.
The bad
Hey,
side of this, though, is that you might, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the my computer kind of just took a dump for a second. So we're back, and we were talking about how to hack your addictions out yourself. You were saying going cold turkey would be great. I think that's where it cut off.
Yeah, like if you like and cold turkey is a term people use, but it's just like once you understand enough about something, once you've just had enough of something and just you feel tired of it, you don't want to do it anymore, then just go cold turkey. But people that don't haven't had enough of something, they should never go cold turkey. So because you haven't had enough of it, have at it more, my man. Try it out some more. Be mindful. Do it more mindfully. That way you can kind of sense all the granularities and particularities of that. Like when you're hitting that cigarette, taste it, taste how it smells like butt, and you know
Smells like
how you
butt.
don't like it. Taste, notice the
Burns
parts that
your
you like.
tongue, it burns your esophagus, it burns your lungs. The feelings, the momentary feeling of, it's what you would get after like 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, to be honest. That's the feeling you get off cigarette. And
Yeah, yeah,
if you've never meditated or tried cigarettes in combination, then yeah, it's exactly, literally, it's exactly the same. That you get, yeah, bro, that's you calming the fuck down, your body calming the fuck down, and that's what happens on meditation when you're able to calm the fuck down. So
yeah.
yeah,
Like it might just be coffee too. Like, if you've never meditated, you might just want to compare it to compare all these things later on. Like initially, just at this first step of mindfulness practice, doing whatever it is, whatever addiction it is, just note down the pros and cons, the good feelings, because everything feels good, and everything either feels good or it feels bad or it feels neutral. Usually it's very rare for something to feel completely neutral. Usually if it's neutral, it's actually slightly positive. But the reason you want to index all these things is because for the next step where you're going to do what we're just talking about now, where we correlate them to activities that substitute those feelings. So coffee can substitute that accelerated feeling you get when you're hitting that cigarette. Um, the when you're stroking your doorknob, like the sensation, the acute sensation
right.
of that, you know, you can get the same thing from exercise, but instead you get it all over your body, that whole buzz. You can also write down there might also be other addictions too, and you might want to be aware of these too, so you don't get looped into something. Like some people, they give up one thing, but they get into another bad thing that substitutes those sensations.
Yeah.
The goal is of the second step is to find things that are positive, but just list down the bad things too, because that way you can be aware of your weaknesses. And it's okay to admit that you have weaknesses. It's okay not to to take yourself from certain environments because you know what would happen, because we're all, like we were talking about with the Bhagavad-Gita, we're not really free. We're all like in this network. We're all on this web of causation. And to think that you're really free from this web of causation, you're really in some sort of delusion
It's
to
insanity.
yeah, to be thinking that,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know where exactly we cut off, but when you were saying is you haven't had enough of it, I guess you were talking about, well, do it more. Like you were smoking, you want to smoke cigarettes, smoke nonstop all day and see how those feelings take you. You want to jerk off? Okay, jerk off all fucking day. Which I'm not gonna lie, it's things I have tried myself, and I was pretty fucking successful at it. Like there's there's supposed to be some drawback, and the only drawback I ever got from jerking off was that I was just weak. Like I remember I get sinus infections and allergies and stuff like that. So on a normal day, I get something, I feel something here tingling, and then it just fades away. On those days where I jerk off 4, 5, 6, whatever, how many times, whatever the fuck I can do, just completely drain myself. Those same little sinus infections, those same little things actually developed into something more. And now I'm noticing a bunch of things have to do with how I eat and the environment and what they're spraying in the air and the types of clouds that there's in the sky. There's tons of factors, but the one factor that was different between no, that was the one factor that was different in me was I drained sexually or just because of jerking off too much, or was I not? And just getting drained energetically, it made it easier for me to no, it made it harder for me to fight off those infections. It made it harder for my body to have the energy to actually fight off these infections easily. And that did lead me to have like these kind of things. I guess I used to get sinus infections pretty goddamn often because I'm a sweet lover, bro. I eat nothing but sugar. And I'm realizing I'm like, fuck, man, it's this sugar that's killing me. I haven't been eating sugar to the levels I had before. And the one thing that I have been noticing is my level of sinus, like congestion, it's almost gone. I'm taking turmeric pills and I'm doing turmeric pulling, like I'm doing all these things, and it's pulling all this crap out of my sinuses, and it's insanely good. And I'm breathing so good right now. When I'm meditating, I can get deep, deep breaths and go slowly and like in and out. Like you can't do that when congested nose. Meditation sucks when you have a congested nose. And me not eating sugar is making my meditation so much better. I don't know. I think I kind of just went full circle, but yeah, dive into the things fully, and then you'll see if they're messing you up. And there's always bad things to your habits. Habits are always many times are unconscious, and if you can replace it with a good habit, that's good. But then again, those can become habits, and bad things can happen from habits because you're doing it unconsciously. Just become conscious.
Yeah, I mean, having a good habit be a habit isn't that bad a habit.
Hmm.
That's actually kind of what you want. You don't want everything all in your consciousness, anyways. Ultimately, the perfect life is all pretty much automatic, and there's not too much stuff you got to think about because all the
Robot.
yeah, you're kind of robotically doing all the best stuff that you possibly can do for yourself.
I mean, yeah, you're playing the best
But it
game you can play.
yeah, but you're doing it in a metacognitive way too. Like um, you don't just do the same thing every day. Oh, you do this Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, because you've perfected it to that level. You've just monitor you've mindful. That's the ultimate goal of mindfulness from a functional daily level. Um, and the same thing actually on meditation level. That's another topic. But on a daily level, you're just mindfuling the heck out of your life to the point that you've perfected everything in your life and you just know exactly what to do, exactly what to eat, what days are right, what day of the year. You know, you've got a 365-day schedule, and you've also got to have it tuned so that you can kind of adjust it sometimes because of it's raining today. So now you're going to do this. So you've got all these heuristics set up. Heuristics is like where it's kind of like analytical processing because if this, then that, if this, then that kind of processing, that's called heuristics.
Okay. Heuristics. Oh, I do that a lot then. Cause and effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like having kind of that cause and effect understanding and
Yeah,
yeah,
I do that a lot. Just well, that's how I see the world in cause and effect. Sometimes it's bad because I'm like, well, fuck, look at all these causes and all these possible effects, and I don't know what I should do. Da, 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 da. You just get stuck in the possibilities. But other times it's you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this shit because it just fucking doesn't benefit me. It's only gonna lead me to fuck shit.
but I mean, just knowing it cognitively isn't enough.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we all know the bad sides of everything, but we have to know we're a body too. A lot of people forget that they're a body too, and you got to be centered. Mindfulness is usually in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness is actually, I think some people say that it's always in the body, but at some of the higher levels, where you're being mindful, there is no body anymore. And but yeah, so for us, we're all for our practical purposes, what we're talking about now, these habits tend to be stored in the body somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can be mindful of the sensations and things, I don't know how to explain it, but you'll just be more um, masterful of over it. The more that you kind of make it vaguely all mental um, and abstract, you kind of just you haven't locked it in and found out exactly where it is coordinated within your body, then the more it becomes evasive and it's hard to manage. And you don't want that because it's actually ignorance. Not knowing where, not knowing something, not knowing the full thing about something is kind of ignorance. Kind of an ignorant behavior. So yeah, it's whatever you're doing, just be more mindful about it, and eventually you'll, be super mindful about it and practice meditation to develop that mindfulness too. Because whatever level of mindfulness that we're at now, there's an even deeper level. 99.9% sure that you have, unless you're a Buddha or something, and you haven't seen it as deeply as you possibly could. Um, yeah, so there's almost no limit to how mindful you can be about something.
Right.
Um,
Um, yeah. Oh, I've been getting way more deeper into meditation recently, like hours a day kind of stuff, and different practices, different things that I've done previously. But now I'm also including Shambhavi, and that practice in and of itself is it's powerful as hell, dude. It literally is powerful, and there's so many things that I have found out that I have just repressed for whatever the fuck reason, whatever reason I thought I needed to do it, I repressed them and never fully experiencing them, never fully allowing them to come and go. They stay. They don't go. So if you ever find yourself in a situation, you tend to ignore these feelings or these thoughts, or you distract yourself with other bullshit, ignoring these feelings and these thoughts, these things compound themselves. It's like you light a match, right? And instead of turning off the match, you let that shit burn for a while. You let that shit catch other things on fire, and all of a sudden, after a little while, you have a fucking forest fire. And that's how I see a lot of these past traumas and all these things that we have, and how meditation is actually helping is th- we've had this talk on the offline, and a lot of the stuff that I personally have kept hidden is a lot of pain and sorrow for whatever the fuck reason, whatever mental reason I thought I needed to have pain because of whatever situation it is. It's a lot of pain and sorrow, and recently it's been a lot of pain and sorrow in regards to delusions, expectations, and love, dude. Because we all have a weird sense of what love is and what relationships are, and I've just been breaking myself out of my own goddamn definitions and checklists and all these things. And yeah, it's been intense. It's been good. A lot of most of the stuff that's wrong with me, it's self-caused. Like I might have hurt somebody in some ways, but the guilt and the shame and everything that I got and made for myself, I think made that shit 1,000 times worse. Um, yeah, fuck.
yeah, about love, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to men, understanding the kind of love that they would get from a woman,
Mm,
and it's actually talked about in the Iron Rules of Tomassi. I'm gonna actually read the passage on it because it's just so profound.
iron rules of what?
One of the iron rules, Tomassi. He's this Rollo Tomassi. He wrote this book called The Rational Male. This is probably the most important book in the red pill community. This is like the holy grail, and there's nothing newer or better about it. It's just this thing is just core. And one of the ideas that he talks about is here. This sixth rule of the Iron Rule of Tomassi. I don't know if you want to read it.
I'll read it. You gotta put it on the screen.
Yeah. Oh shit! I'm not sharing my screen.
All right.
Right here.
Iron Rule of Tomassi, Tomassi, number six. Number six, right? Or which one?
Yep.
Women are utterly incapable of loving a man in the way that a man expects to be loved. Well, that is depressing. In its simplicity, this speaks volumes about the condition of man. It accurately expresses a pervasive nihilism that men must either confront and accept or be driven insane in denial for the rest of their lives when they fail to come to terms with the disillusionment. Women are incapable of loving men in a way that a man idealizes as possible, in a way he thinks she should be capable of. But what is this way? I don't know what this way means.
It's just we want this kind of, I guess, unconditional love from a woman, like, but women just they don't function like that. And that's not the way nature designed them to be. And we know that women are nature. Women are never going to stop being nature. Just like a scorpion is never going to stop stinging you just because it's your pet scorpion. You know.
My pet scorpion loves me.
So this I stole this analogy from another book related to male sexual strategy here. But yeah, that's what I interpreted it as, and I read some of the comments on it. There might be more in this book. I haven't actually read the book. I read these rules, and I was just like, wow, these rules are so deep. I'm gonna read the book and put it on my list. But I didn't get to the actual book. I really need to read the actual book, though.
Let's read these. This is the Medium post on the Iron Rules of Tomassi by Red Pill Norman. I'm interested. Let's go up on these rules and
Okay. Do you want to go deeper into this rule? I'm trying to look for this deeper part of this rule. There you go. Rule number 6. 224. How many? Oh my God, 300 pages. I don't think there's going to be more explanation.
Around there. Yeah, keep going down.
Oh, cool. There's actually more stuff to read. Just the 6th rule. I don't like going like all over all these rules. It's better if we can go deep into one thing.
Okay.
Because in our topics, we talk about everything, and
it's true. So women are fundamentally incapable of loving a man the way that a man expects to be loved by a woman. Huh. I don't expect it.
Here it is.
It'd be so nice.
The next sentence kind of explains it here. Like, men believe that love matters for the sake of it. Women love opportunistically.
I was an opportunistic lover, but I didn't think that was an actual strategy. It just came about.
Like,
corporate carpe diem.
Yeah, in your heart and in my heart, most men's hearts, we have this. Like, we're not Disney. Have we been brainwashed by Disney? I don't think so. I think this is just something we as men have also been naturified to want. That we want love just because we love. We are actually the whole male female dynamic. Men desire women. Women are desired. So we're the actual true lovers, right? So it's kind of tragic that, we're in this position that we're the true lovers, but women are not really the true lovers. They're the loved, They like being loved. They, because they, opportunistically, this part plays into their whole, because women, there's 2 types of men that women like: provider and the lover type, right? And the latter tends to be very short term and
right.
tends to like override her brain in order to have like healthy, what she perceives, what her natural genes are telling her is a healthy sperm, right? So that's why women will date those cocky, obnoxious dudes, because it triggers these signals within her body that this is kind of like a really confident dude, even though he's just.
Yeah, well, I've been on both sides of that, on all sides of that spectrum, bro. I've been like on the vibes that girls didn't come to me because I was just so in my fucking ball. I was so in my shell kind of thing, and I wasn't vibing in the right way. There was no good vibes going out to them. They didn't feel anything like that. It's not nagging. Nagging is I wasn't provoking them in any way, shape, or form. There was nothing for them. But then I've been in the completely opposite side that without me fucking even trying, like I was getting so much unwarranted attraction that it was just like, I literally don't have time right for everybody right now. And when you don't have time for all these people, that's when all these people seem to want to spend more time with you. It's so fucking weird, dude, how vibes work and how that kind of thing works. Because when you're nobody, when you have nobody, it's really hard to get somebody. And when you have somebodies, it's extremely easy to get even more people, more bodies. It's insane how just vibes work. And it has to do with how you are putting yourself out there to the world if you have talking to multiple people, then there's a sense of confidence, there's a sense of I don't need you. So there's not a sense of expectation. There's no neediness from the other person, and that's all great and dandy. And yeah, but it's just been interesting. And well, that I guess Iron Rule 6 is I can't disagree with it. Yeah, shit. Expects to be loved by a woman though. Like expectations are always a fucking trip. They always are.
Well, it's just not even that. It's like, once you're in a relationship with a woman, or even when you're in a relationship, this is talking about the fundamental thing that we're looking for as men.
Mm.
Women just aren't going to be able to. The love that she feels for you is conditional. It's not the love that you get from your mom. This is like some sort of other love that you kind of. It's not like the ideal love. I think if we just let's just continue where we stopped here. So it's in its simplicity. Yeah, here it is. Like in its simplicity.
This
Actually,
speaks
no.
volumes about the condition. It's pretty long.
Yeah, we already read that one.
Exactly.
Pervasive nihilism. Women are incapable of loving. We're like, it is possible in a way she's be capable of. In the same respect, women cannot. There you go. This is the part we haven't
Right.
read yet.
Let me read it. In the same respect, a woman cannot appreciate the sacrifices men are expected to make in order to facilitate their imperatives. Woman can't actualize how a man would have himself loved by her. Woman can't actualize how a man would have himself loved by her. What? It is not natural. It is not the natural state of woman in the moment he attempts to explain his ideal love. That's the point of which is that idealization becomes her obligation. Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Expectations. When the expectations start to come about, you try to force people to become this or that, or to do this or that, or you expect them to do this or that. And yeah, this is where things start to become obligations.
Yeah, but this is more than that. This is like kind of like um, not just like a normal obligation. Like the way you're talking about it is like, what if you had this idea that you're gonna when you grow up you're gonna have butterfly wings? You're gonna be pretty damn unhappy when you grow up.
Or you're gonna get butterfly wings.
I don't think so, but like you. So
Genetic
what he's
inheritance.
saying is basically there's something inside of our heads where we think we're gonna have butterfly wings, and we got to get that thought out of our heads. Otherwise, we're always gonna be unhappy.
But I
Because
want to have eagle wings, not butterfly wings.
I think you might be a happy man then. You
Yeah.
have a you have a 99% chance of not being happy, but
All I need is that 1%, bro. All you need is a one. All you need is a chance, the possibility. Life
yeah,
is an improbable amalgamation of choices. Why can't I become a god?
there's like 3 more pages of this, but I want
Yeah.
to dig into this and find out exactly what it is at our core uh, male minds that's incorrect, and we got to throw that thing out because I think that's part of a lot of unhappiness I
Uh,
feel in myself too, because expecting this thing from women that I'm never gonna really get. That's why a lot of people um, you know, it affects everything else. It's kind of like having a poison inside of yourself that affects everything else.
right.
Having it causes you to have heavy expectations that are never going to
Right.
be met. It causes you to get all clingy.
Right.
Causes so that core thing. If you can just address that core thing, if you can take that poison out, now okay, now you're all fixed.
Here's the thing, though. How do you? The only way I have ever been able to not be clingy is to have multiple other options going at the same time. Because then I don't have this clingy nature of like, well, if you go, what am I gonna do? And this kind. Well, in my mind, it'd be like, if you go, well, there's X to fill in the spot, kind of thing, or I can do this now. Like I see possibilities, and yeah, you don't. And when someone does leave, the emotional sadness that you get from someone leaving is not as heavy, mostly because you're distracted through other emotional distractions and emotional pulls and things you're going that happening. So that's the only time I've ever not been clingy is when I was, well, you can call it being a fuckboy. And it's a very good way to not be clingy. You get into that mode automatically. There's no thinking. There's no whatever the fuck. It's just like, no, I have an abundance of people that want to be with me. I don't feel like I need you to be with me, but I like spending time. That's kind of where it turned into. Like, I don't need you to spend time with me, but I like spending time with you. And the person I like spending time with more is the person who got more of my attention, regardless of their looks or their personality, or if there's just something that attracted me to them. I would ignore every other girl for them. Why? It's, honestly, it was just a feeling. It wasn't always the cutest girl. It wasn't always the most amazing cook, even though some girls are good cooks. It was just a weird chemistry, energetic feeling thing. But yeah, how do you become not clingy and not a fuckboy? Unless I guess being a fuckboy is okay. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, I think women are fuckboys too. I mean,
True. They
they're
are.
hypergamous by
Yeah.
nature. They are.
Yeah.
Um, especially when you remove societal conditioning. Um, the biological aspect of women is totally multi-orgasmic. So of course she's going to be um, polyamorous and or at least hypergamous. Um,
Well, that's why you look your. That's why you look your. No, what was I gonna say? That's why you look for a lesbian chick.
yeah, I think like having this idea kind of pulled out of our system, it actually dissolves a lot of actions like marrying a woman for one. You're never going to be fully committed to a woman because you know that um, she just can't love you in that way that you. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but she should. You wouldn't be like totally just over invested in women, because I think a lot of men they have this whole Disney like ideal they're talking about with women, and that's why we're all kind of. Um, there's a lot of guys who end up being divorced raped by women and stuff because they're and even in normal relationships they kind of have all these expectations and stuff. So yeah, we probably have a lot of healthy relationships, I think. And yeah, I think I still have like this whole belief that it's not right to. I'm kind of like a serial monogamist, I think, but yeah, I think it's weird though. Nature designed us to be polyamorous and everything, but society designed us to be uh, monogamous, and that societal conditioning kind of like that's plays a far stronger role in our minds because we are our minds. We're not. We know we are our minds, but both in our minds and our bodies. But
Bodies. That's interesting.
yeah,
Society makes us monogamous. Biology makes us
biology.
polygamous.
We are polyamorous
Probably.
for sure. But I heard that the reason that they do that is that the reason we were made to be monogamous is one is for societal uh less societal chaos, but supposedly in the Native American times and all these other primitive societies, they weren't in chaos. They were actually really interconnected and intertwined. People would take care of each other's children. You know, everyone was a tribe together. It was all like pretty much everyone was a unit.
Hmm. I don't know. That's a trip. That's a trip. Because the
There
only
was
thing
none
that
of that jealousy stuff because we are actually all. The more you think about it logically, like just take away all your jealousy and all those emotional things, and the more you look at it from a third person viewpoint, just observe like as if you're an anthropologist or something, a society that's polyamorous, and you'll see a pretty peaceful society that where everyone's loving and taking care of each other. It's all based on love, actually. There's
when has that ever worked widespread though? I'm talking like millions of people. Never.
um,
Never. Like maybe a village of
yeah,
motherfuckers
yeah.
who fuck each other. That might work and that mentality, but I still have a feeling that there's gonna be a couple of men there who are gonna start stabbing other men. Like I I can't be in a polyamorous relationship mostly because of the jealousy factor. And it's not just like feelings of insecurity. No, it's feeling of disgust.
But then,
Like I feel disgust towards a woman after these things happen.
yeah, yeah, that's all linked to your societal conditioning. Like if you think about it from
Is
all the
it?
other things that we've been talking about too,
Is it
about
though? Because I
like,
don't think it has anything to do with society or what they've told me. Because I most of what society tells me can go fuck itself. Like I don't think I'm that brainwashed to do that. It's just if we talk about feelings and we talk about watching what arises and what comes about, like there's this deep motherfucking subprimal levels of energy that comes out. Like
that
this I don't think society could have.
just because something is societal conditioning doesn't mean it hasn't mushroomed its way all the way to your reptilian conditioning.
Maybe, maybe.
There's definitely some fungal growth in there with the societal conditioning that it taps into your deepest rooted things, you know,
Mm,
and that's actually, you know, that's what it is. You know, everything starts with your thoughts. Buddha talks about it, all the other Confucius talks about it, how the thoughts become you, and it's not a joke. It's not just because. I
yeah,
mean, it's not a lighthearted thing to say. You know, it goes all the way deepest down to your emotions, but it actually goes even deeper than that. It goes even all the way to your karmic future seeds. Like having certain viewpoints and certain, and this is what Buddha talks about in some of the suttas, how if you're an angry person, um, because of the karma there, the next life you'll actually be born in a body which is ugly and unappealing because of all the anger,
right.
because of those karmic seeds you planted. And it just goes all the way deep into your consciousness, the, the bottommost layer of your consciousness. So what else doesn't that means it penetrates everything. But yeah, I wouldn't just because something produces an emotional response doesn't mean that
It's not societal.
it's not yeah, it's not artificial and it's not you. um but yeah, the thing that only repulses me is just the consideration that it is kind of it's kind of gross to be sharing. But then, you know, you got that evolutionary, you know, probiotic stuff, you know, survival of the fittest. You know, just to say that it's gross to be sharing probiotics and all that with each other and stuff. It's actually the same kind of idea that a lot of the media is perpetuating on us now with the pandemic, you know, making us all fearful of something that's completely survivable. Um, and have you seen this? Have you seen Sweden's graph? Like recently,
No.
their death rates are lower than the countries which didn't lock down and which did lock down because
Yeah.
Sweden,
Well, that was the case before, no, right?
yeah, I mean, even now recently though, it's still lower. Sweden's death rates compared to previous years is lower, you know, and
So they're
they had,
healthier now than before.
yeah, yeah, they're healthier now than before. And um, the thing is though, the price of that was they died a little bit more over the summer, but you know, the herd immunity was let's stop sharing for a bit so I can find my picture here. But the herd immunity thing was what you know, it spiked up a little bit and then it went down again. So we can see the chart here. Sweden is the one in red.
France is the one going crazy as fuck with these lockdowns, right?
Yeah. So actually this is not fatality, this is cases.
Uh,
So the cases per million for Sweden, it was high over June and then it dropped.
wait, why the fuck was everybody tripping on Italy when Italy wasn't even the worst hit? Spain was hit worse than Italy when it comes to cases.
I think Spain was. Oh, sure.
Look at that, dude. Look how many fucking cases Spain is. At like 160 per million.
Wow, yeah. This is per million, yeah. So I mean, this is ratioed out. That's all proportionate. So
Like maybe Italy has more people than Spain. Maybe that's why the cases. Well,
no,
maybe
but
they're just more
it's per
concentrated.
million, so it's proportionate. So we don't have to consider that because the cases per million. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
that's
yeah,
weird.
your question is definitely valid. Why were they? And
Yeah,
probably
maybe
subject to
because they have so
Babylon.
many more deaths. Because there's a bunch of old people with smoke that just get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that was it. The death was the one that scared
Or
everybody.
maybe more severe lockdown or something.
Mm, yeah, I mean now it's Italy's almost with Sweden and Germany go down there, and then you got UK rising up, and France and Spain going crazy.
These tests gotta be BS. Like
I
it's,
don't
it's too
trust
high.
these tests, bro. And it's another thing with the Joe Rogan thing is that this guy tests himself every day, basically. Like literally every day, this fool's there taking a test. And yeah, people are free to do whatever they want, but I think he's a little afraid of COVID, bro. I think he's a little afraid of a lot afraid, to be honest. Yeah.
There was some article about like, weakening the blood-brain barrier. I don't like these tests, but I mean, Joe Rogan's taking it every day. I mean, he's fine, it seems. So maybe some of those things are a little exaggerated. But I mean, it could also be, different quality of test. The way that someone would test Joe Rogan would definitely be nicer than the way that just test a regular Joe. Just, stab the regular Joe in his nose.
Well, he does have a private nurse that does it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a lot gentler with politicians with higher quality healthcare treatments, definite. Um, You're going to happen with, you know, famous people. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing a lockdown here in California all over. Uh,
But we're in Oregon, right?
oh yeah, we're in Oregon
We're
though.
in Oregon.
Orange County. Did you see the stuff about Orange County people protesting and
At the
stuff?
beach?
Yeah,
I saw the Huntington Beach protester.
yeah.
Ever
And they
wonder
took,
how your friend
Uh,
yeah. That sucks. For me here, I don't care about a curfew. I don't really go out past,
yeah, I don't
once
really
it turns
care for
dark.
curfews, but it's just the potential ramifications of what could happen later on. There's just it carries
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. It's the principle of
It's
it.
the principle of it. Yeah, that's right. Like I don't give a shit about curfews. I don't go out. I don't fucking like drinking it anyways. I think it's a waste of time now and energy. Different story, but
Yeah, I mean, there's actually some benefits to a curfew, but it's just the principle of it. Like it's actually the benefits I think of is there's gonna be a little less crime. There's because there's less people going out about like that time, less car accidents. Um, People are gonna be a little healthier too. People are kind of being told to go to sleep at a appropriate time.
party inside my own apartment. That's what's up. That's what we used to do, man. I lived in lockdowns for like years in Thailand, bro.
Oh shit.
I lived there during the military dictatorship. I don't know if you knew, and it was the most nicest military dictatorship I ever heard of in my life. Like the worst thing that happened was that they closed the bars at 12, and we just went to underground bars that pay the police. And that was like literally the worst thing that happened. I mean, I got bars raided by military officials, people in fucking full on military gear and fucking automatic rifles, walking into the bar going, no, 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 no. We're just like, oh no, just walk out. Like,
Why would so they did enforce the curfew or they
oh,
didn't?
they did enforce force curfews for sure. Like the police would come around and they'd close everything down. Like 12 o'clock was just the bars, dude. Like they enforced the 12 o'clock bar thing, but it was only in my area, like only Chiang Mai. It wasn't Bangkok. Bangkok still has till 2 in the morning. They were just fucking with us up north, because it's the politicians fucking with the free north up there.
Why? What was the reason for it?
Nobody fucking knows, dude. Nobody understands what the hell the point of the lockdowns were. Nobody could ever explain to me why the fuck these lockdowns were in place. I think they're just trying to keep the debauchery low, but Thailand's the sex capital of the world. I don't know if they can do that.
The debauchery?
Yeah, the bars are the only things that were closing down.
But like, it's business. I mean,
No
damn.
clue, man. No clue.
What are they worried about? Their national karma or something?
They, I think they did want to make their image a little bit better, but again, it's the fucking sex capital of the world.
Hmm. I mean, they're not gonna get that to happen with just uh, a few curfews, and they have to actually change it at a policy level. If they,
Well, yeah, well,
I think it's something else. I think it must be
it
to
had a,
condition people to control, and stuff.
it was to fuck with the North because the South didn't have these things. The South didn't have military curfews at 12 o'clock at their bars. Like Bangkok, the islands, those beaches, they
But
don't have
there's not that much sexual stuff going on there.
dude, it's nothing but bad going down down
Oh,
there.
okay, never mind.
Like
So it's all
Bang
over.
yeah, like the main problem is down there, to be honest. That's where all the debauchery goes on. That's where all the fucking the bars are at. Not all of them, but the vast majority. I think there was more like what the hell are those special slippery massages thing, whatever, bubble bath massages,
Neuro
whatever.
neuro massage.
I think they're called Nora. Okay, there's more of those than there are temples in Bangkok, and there's like 1,000 temples in Bangkok, bro. It's like-
Hey, those
look,
those can be temples, while worshiping
that's
the
fine with. I don't
female
mind
goddess.
what you worship, bro. And Thailand is a little bit more open when it comes to sex and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know what, bro? I think it's actually time we should just move to Thailand, man. It really you need to find another online job that you can do in Thailand, and there's ways you can have a visa. You can actually work, do a remote working, and have a visa where you do like remote work. Like you don't have to have any other kind of shit.
Would I be taxed at the
Oh
Thailand
hell
rate?
yeah, you have to file your taxes and do your own shit if you're an independent worker kind of thing. It depends on the
In
company you're
Thailand?
working with. Yeah, they're not gonna force you to file taxes. You still have to do everything on your own. After 2 years, you're supposed to declare taxes to the United States.
Dang, Thailand has a 45% income tax.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
pay that one.
so I'll just kind of stay here until they start hurting people.
Go down, go to digital nomads. I think it just said. Yeah, so working online.
Mm, This isn't true. Everyone has a tax liability, so if you're a digital nomad, you only
Webcam
pay tax.
stripper. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think
it would be the same tax. It would
I
be
think
the same tax
I
rate.
think I paid like 100, no, like $30 a year in
So
taxes.
this is bot, right?
Yeah, it's bought. So you divide that by 30. So
Right.
$30,000 is roughly a million baht. 5 million bahts, 150K, roughly.
But 30,000 baht was how much?
More than 150K.
30,000 baht?
No, 30,000 baht is $1,000.
Dang, how come I can't convert this? Uh,
And I think that's a month, bro.
oh, well, I mean, whatever it is,
Or
it's going to be the
maybe
whole
not.
thing.
Maybe it is a year.
So it's 70K to is
Yeah, 212,000 baht. Yeah, that makes sense.
oh, okay, damn, yeah. So
Just
it would be the
multiply by
same
30.
rate. This is the same rate everywhere in the world. I mean, I currently don't have like a strong tax push out of the US. I mean, I think the whole world is just under one new world order, This tax rate is the same that I would pay if I went to go to Bangladesh and worked. This is what I would pay in here, or what I pay here in the US. This is what I would pay in Thailand, pretty much in China as well.
Damn.
The tax rates are all pretty much universally coded right now, and it's becoming more so than ever. This is going to accelerate. All the countries are going to pretty much start looking more and more the same, and you know, and it's not only just from a new world order angle, but it's also from the foreign. investment angle. Like, foreign countries, they're not gonna want to miss out on taxes just because you want to leave the country. Oh yeah, come to our country, but you're gonna pay the same amount in taxes. They're making it basically equally unwelcome everywhere.
That's why you have to treat yourself as a corporation and start doing some other kind of moves.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna with this particular software, there's no way I can start my own corporation
Well,
and
you can become
compete.
a freelancer. That's what the whole start your own corporation means.
Oh yeah. I
You
know a
become
couple of people that are doing that. They're like freelancers but it's a lot of work.
you have to set up your own freelancer thing.
Yeah.
The setup might be a lot of work, but yeah, you could be your own corporation and work for a company, do whatever. There's
Mm.
actually a company that does that in Chiang Mai, the place I used to live in, and they literally help the digital nomad people get a work permit through their regular jobs, but they are paying a percentage of what they make. And how they got around that is that you have to make like $2,000 has to go through them in order for you to have that $2,000 a month has to go through them, and they'll keep large percentage of that. But then the other portion of their salary was being paid in other ways or whatever.
So you'd have to pay extra to the digital nomad
No,
organizers?
you just paid whatever percentage off the $2,000, and then the other amount of money wasn't counted through there. You need a minimum to get a work permit, and it's $2,000 a month. So once you have that minimum, the rest is just different ways to get paid. Different.
Yeah, I wonder what can be like, I've been thinking like what kind of business can be done in a different country that's independent uh of other countries. But I mean, those are usually pretty low income wise. I mean, the only thing I can think of is just homesteading and, selling your extra. But homesteading is a lot of work. But yeah, that's why I think a lot of countries are supposedly a lot of people are dying because the Western world is locked down, and a lot of the business um, is now missing
This
it's now gone from supporting the third world countries.
this is what happens when you have these kinds of systems that are in place. They're inefficient. They're just extremely inefficient, and they work only because we have the fiat currency system in place, and we have well, honestly, it's just a fiat currency system in place, and that's the one pushing everything. Because otherwise, it would be extremely inefficient to take stuff from the other side of the world and ship it to the United States, if it wasn't purely for the fact that it is cheaper, the fiat currency. It resource-wise, it takes a lot more resources to bring it to you all the way over here. Sure, you have to make a factory here, you have to do all these things, but we have all the basic industry we need. We have the foundation of what we need to actually create all our products. It's just inefficient. It really is. And if you remove the concept of it's cheaper, right, there's really only negatives. Is there any positive from getting things from China and not from the United States if we remove the whole premise that it's cheaper to make over there?
Not really.
Exactly. You're usually dealing with lower quality shit anyways.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's better brought over here because we lose a lot of money on all the other incentives that we give. I think a lot of our tax dollars go into funding the trade. You know.
Yeah. And then yeah, so we're just inefficient. So of course, when everybody stops buying and everybody has no money to buy shit, of course everything's gonna get fucked. That's a system we're working on. This is the capitalistic system cannot keep on going if nobody buys shit. It's 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 in it needs consumption, and without consumption, it fails. And this is one big drawback with capitalism. It's just a delusion of infinite growth. It's not infinite growth. It's obviously going to stop, and it's obviously going to do Yeah, it's obviously going to stop. There's obviously going to be limits. We need local processing and manufacturing, man. It's what we need for most of our stuff, which is what we go back into what we've been talking about before. Local, sustainable, collective. I'm gonna call them economies now, not communities because communities sound racist, but local, sustainable, collective economies. That's kind of what we need right now. Communities as well, but economies, because then we can feed ourselves locally, we can produce our stuff locally, we can trade with other places within a couple 100,000 miles or whatever. It can make it easier. But then we wouldn't be like, oh man, the US isn't buying all this rice. That means that all the rice farmers in Vietnam now have no money. And now that means that all of those rice farmers are now going to go out of business. All these things happen because we're all connected in a very inefficient way. But yeah, on a random note, you use Stack Overflow?
Yeah, I use it to get answers.
Yeah.
Everyone
Makes
else
sense.
does. I should contribute more. You should see some of my answers on the Buddhism Stack Overflow. Like I got some good ratings.
Buddhism Stack Overflow?
Yeah, dude. There's well, not Stack Overflow, but Stack Exchange has a lot of different I don't know what you call it, like subreddits,
Okay. And
sub sub exchanges.
interesting. So like, okay.
Yeah, there's a Buddhism one. There's pretty much an exchange for every single subject, like machining, and these are like really good quality answers that you would pay money to. You should pay money to get, honestly, because some of these answers are really. I've solved some of these problems, like related to my software consulting stuff, and build clients hundreds of dollars, whereas those same answers are up on here, and
Well, yeah, because they're there for people who know how to read and do all this stuff. Like you still have that. The answers might be easy, but the execution of these answers is still gonna be a bitch.
no, I give the same answers, but in a more private client to client.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
So you're like, so what's your problem? And then you look it up on Stack Overflow and be like, oh, I know what that problem.
yeah. I've done that in the past, and when I started doing this job a few years ago, and but yeah, like community help is great. Um, yeah, we definitely. I think the answer isn't communism, but definitely some social responsible socialism. The thing is, though, have you heard of what have you seen? You've probably seen what Klaus was saying, that banker guy
The
was
Great
like,
Reset guy?
huh?
The Great Reset guy?
Yeah,
I think I might have seen something about him. Why?
yeah, that's what we've been taught, what Alex Jones and even the Bible has been talking about for a long time, that they're gonna mark us, they're gonna tag us, they're gonna inject us, and unless we do that, we're not gonna get food. He's basically been saying that emergency food packets will be given to people, but only for those who got their vaccinations.
Hmm.
He just straight up said that, like, clear as a Twitter post. I mean, well, it is a Twitter post. Um, and yeah, like in the Bible, it talk about how, you get the mark of the beast, don't get it, you're going to be tempted with all this stuff. Just hang tight, wait for Jesus' return. That's what it says in the Bible. But yeah, there's did this whole whatever Pfizer released 95% safety vaccine.
Oh man, I'm sketched out, dude. Like, I'm still half over here hoping that Trump pulls a three Hail Marys in a row kind of shit. Like, I want this one to start dropping bombs, political bombs on these people, just because I don't want this whole vaccine thing to go through. Not in the way that I think it's gonna go through. And then I saw the military. It's not a general, or maybe he's a general. I don't know what his position is, but it's the military guy in charge of the distribution, in charge of the logistics of the whole vaccine distribution. And the way they were talking about it, they didn't say they were going to force everybody to take it, but they did say they were going to do the preferred method of whatever the hell that county wanted, or the people, the way they wanted it to be distributed. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Well, what if that county decides that we want to force vaccinate everyone? They, they never said they wouldn't do it. They said they'd follow through with the appropriate measures that that county would want. And I'm like,
Yeah,
wow, this is sketchy as shit,
Alex,
bro.
yeah, Alex Jones brought on this dude, and he explained how, in we had, legally speaking, we have a precedence, or the government has a precedence to be able to do mandatory vaccinations, but not at a federal level. It would be like at a state level. There was
Right.
some case that went to just some court case in 1904 that went to the Supreme Court, and they allowed the states to rule that, oh, you can have mandatory vaccinations.
Yeah, see, and I don't fucking trust California, bro. I know we live in Oregon, but I don't trust
But I
California.
think I think it's going to be like what you're saying, though. It's going to be on a county level, because there's going to be way too much fight back against that. But there's actually no way we're going to avoid this. There's going to be mandatory vaccinations. The only answer is, how's that going to exactly happen? Is it going to be complete? It's probably not going to be. It's probably not going to be a full state level, but it's definitely not going to be full federal level. It's going to be state level.
Yeah,
I think some states are going to be safe havens,
I think some
but
states gonna be safe
you're not
havens.
going to be able to leave those states pretty easily. You know,
It's fucking horrible, bro. Now we're gonna have this. They're literally creating safe spaces for liberals, literal safe spaces, so nobody can get any disease, and everybody's all safe and wearing a mask. And God, it was so annoying how much that guy on Joe Rogan was just so adamant about these masks. Like, and he actually knows people up there. Like, he's not just some random motherfucker. This is the most dangerous part. It's like he actually has a voice up there with those people up there. It's insane. And I don't think he decides policy, but people listen to this fool. He's Harvard, Yale, something, something or another. Like, ah, man. He had a lot of good points, but at the same time, he gives no fucks about the potential ramifications of what this actually does in a government tyrannical way. Like, this is the problem with scientists, that they're so focused on this science thing. They don't go, oh, maybe they're using us and our data to manipulate the population in order to in order to get more control over them. They don't have that possibility there. They're like, no, 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 it's just the science. It's just this, it's just that.
even though they say it out in the open, and even though there's,
Yeah,
you know, from lockstep to, tens of years ago to now, to even decades ago, actually, since Alex Jones has been revealing all that stuff.
right.
But it's just that I think, there's not really way of avoiding this, and I think that we just have to kind of, or at least I'm just gonna. I don't think it's gonna be harmful. It's probably gonna mutate your DNA a little bit and make it impossible for you to achieve certain cultivation states, or make you semi. No, but I mean, there's like cancerous stuff in it too. There's so many things to worry about. Um, but and even if some of the people, they aren't worrying about it, I'm kind of I'm kind of a solitary person. I don't really need to be traveling all about and stuff. Um, I'm gonna avoid it as long as I can, especially since Jesus said so. Especially since the Bible said so. That.
Jesus told me not to take the shot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it says in the Bible. Like, no matter how you interpret it, that's pretty much what it says. Um,
That's
at
fucking
the
hilarious.
at the very least, that's what it says. All the way up to go be an Amish. Like, says, the whole don't take the mark of the beast, because that mark of the beast, you could interpret it to say that, oh, that's the all-seeing pyramid on every single dollar.
True.
So, thus, what should you do? You should be an Amish. You should not participate in this currency exchange, and participate in real things. Not inflated currency.
Right.
Uh, all the way up to the actual mark of the beast, where you get the vaccination tattoo, and all this stuff.
All the tracking starts to happen. My problem is that once this tracking actually starts to happen, once this bullshit actually starts to go down, like things don't get better. What the fuck's the optimistic outlook on that? What's the silver lining on everyone being completely controlled and locked down? And if you don't fucking follow these rules, and you ain't getting shit. And if people are going, oh, you're just being alarmist, you're just being paranoid. Is that not exactly what other countries have done when they've done similar fucking things? Like, just people don't fucking remember history at all. They seem to think that we live in this isolated reality, and I'm like, no, people have always been stupid, and they're stupid right now, and we're still doing stupid things, and stupid shit will happen. Like, yeah, man, I just don't trust this kind of reality. I don't trust this kind of people who accept this kind of reality, and I want people that don't acquiesce, like David Icke was not David Icke, yeah, David Icke was saying, like, we need to passive resistance is gonna be it, dude, because there's still a major portion of the United States populace that is not gonna want to take this shot. Most of them are probably Trump supporters too. The people who didn't want this kind of level of bullshit and mandates and stuff. You're muted.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic that it's going to be at a county level. And, my county, we're pretty Republican, and Fresno, I think we're all going to kind of not want this vaccine, and if it comes to it, then, definitely I'm pretty still optimistic that there's going to be some states we can stay in. And, I don't know, I kind of prefer to stay in those states anyways, because, who wants to be in all these high-tech grids anyways, because that's what the other states are going to be like. They're, the ones that are acquiescing to the New World Order, they're just going to become exactly what the New World Order is planning all along. And I don't want to be in that for that experiment.
California
It's
is
not right now.
the experiment, bro. Is a big part of the experiment is in California. A massive part of that is in California.
But I mean, California is a big place. It's one of the biggest states, so I don't think it's gonna just all of California. There's still a lot of, you can see Huntington Beach, people are just straight up protesting and stuff. And what do you think all those millions of people in California how are they gonna react?
That's my question. I don't know.
Yeah, we're all wondering about that about each other.
Like, what the fuck are we gonna do when everything does hit the fan?
Well, when you say hit the fan, I think you're saying like currency reset, right? For me,
Well,
that's how I define.
okay.
Or are you saying
I
when they
mean, that's
do?
that's a different hit the fan than mandatory vaccinations. Though. I don't think they'll happen at the same time. That would be too much. People won't know how to cope with that reality.
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's all tied together. The Great
it is tied
Reset.
together, but they won't do it. Maybe they
That's
would.
that's
They'll
how
just
they've
start
always done
dropping
it. That
bombs.
it's always action, reaction, solution. Action is
But they
this.
don't go action, 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 reaction.
Yeah, they've been doing so many actions. It's just they pile it all together. And in this case, I mean, they're not gonna. No, like what Klaus said. Um, I have to find his thing with Klaus Schwab reset Twitter. Now is the time for a great reset of capitalism. And that was a few months ago. He's been talking for months. Gotta find it. Where is it? Yeah, I mean all the Dollar Vigilante, all the people have been kind of retweeting it. I just didn't save it to my images. Yeah, I can't find it. I'll have to look at that video and then find the part in the video where he talks about that.
Klaus Schwab, Twitter, Dollar Vigilante.
Well, I mean, he has a bunch of videos, but where can you run from the Great Reset? I think it was in this video. Oh, this chick is is she's on fire here. She does a really good rap. This is the first part of the video.
47-minute rap.
No, I mean that her rap was just like a few minutes. He just compiles a bunch of stuff in his videos.
Does he put them out every week or so, or like every time he has a chance or whatever?
Yeah, like every couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get to this guy's level of shit. Somehow rich, chilling.
Oh, here it is. Is it?
Yeah, dollar vision on T.
This one's funny. Erika Badu test positive for COVID-19 in left nostril, negative in right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. On another note, who's gonna become the next podcast king? Because I feel a lot of people are gonna stop listening to Joe Rogan once he moves over to Spotify. I don't think he's gonna be the same. I mean, I don't even want to fucking get Spotify, to be honest. I find that to be too much of a hassle. Even though this podcast is on Spotify.
On Spotify?
This is on Spotify too.
But why did you say that you have
Joe
to
Rogan.
migrate it? Oh, he's gonna get removed from Spotify?
No, he is going to be exclusively on Spotify. I think that was the contract. This whole YouTube thing is only going to last until December, until next year, so the beginning of next year.
Oh.
So he's going to stop putting the full clips. I think. I thought I heard he's going to stop putting the full clips on YouTube and go kind of exclusively on Spotify with the full clip. He's going to start putting bits on YouTube, but not full clips.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't.
Why is that?
Because he got paid $100 million to move his shit to Spotify.
Dang.
100 million plus.
Wow.
I mean, I would too. I'll take all my content off YouTube, all 10 videos.
But then he's not gonna have his videos anymore. The videos are pretty good stuff.
The videos are gonna be there. They're just not gonna upload the full new ones. It's just the episode releases are gonna be exclusive on Spotify.
Oh, so they're gonna put them on Spotify first and then eventually on YouTube.
But they won't put the full ones on YouTube. I think they're just gonna take portions of the clips, like JRE something. He has a different channel for those kind of clips. But yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna not stop listening to him, but I think he's gonna change the whole dynamic. We shall see, though. We shall see. I don't know. He already accepted Biden as his Lord and Savior. That's another thing that's kind of irritating me.
Really?
Yeah.
Even after Alex Jones?
Even after Alex Jones, like during the Dave Chappelle episode, Donald Rollins and Dave Chappelle, like he's already talking like they're already saying like Biden's been elected and that's it. Like this is the process that we're doing right now is just a pleasantries or whatever. Like I'm like, what the fuck, Joe?
Well, I mean,
At least this guy would have been okay with at least waiting to the actual what's it called, electoral college like vote thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I like this right here. Hitler's new Nazi normal was meant to last for 1,000 years, but came crashing down 988 years ahead of target.
Damn. What was his Nazi normal?
Like the whole, Jews in internment camps and all that stuff.
What? That's a lot. 1,000 years of internment camps seems like too much.
Well, pretty much, making everyone white was the goal. But just like here with the Great Reset, making everyone obey the New Orders, vaccination mandates and
This
social.
is the problem. Like a lot of these people, Fauci included, telling us to fucking stop being so independent and just do what you're told. Fuck that guy and his
Yeah,
bullshit.
I hope that what the reason that Joe Rogan is going along with it, and I think some people that are going along with it is just that we're we're mega powerful human beings, like we can, so what if some people die, millions die with this new world order? Let's try it out. We might just have to learn the hard way. you know they're not going to actually be able to wipe out. Actually, I don't know. They might be actually able to wipe out 90% in a good go,
I mean,
'cause-
there's one easy way to wipe out most people. You gotta stop oil production and the flow of gasoline.
yeah, I mean, there was this movie clip that I was watching where on 9gag where he talks about how uh, we've become so dependent, like after the oil industry, we
Right.
become so completely dependent on that. Our whole infrastructure is relying on it. Only 0.2% of people are farmers. You know, we're totally dependent on all that stuff. So if there's like a supply crash and you know all this food getting ferried around doesn't get ferried around,
Right.
it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Yeah. Like it doesn't take much to ruin human society as we know it.
We're much more fragile than I think some of these optimists are thinking.
Yeah, we're extremely fragile. And this is like the point that I'm trying to make when it comes to these scientists and these doctors. Like they don't see the totality of this. They just go, "Oh, it's a disease." Even if that was true, even if all their science was true, like
No, I think the way they're doing is they're saying, oh, it's just the economy,
yeah,
but it's not just the
just the
economy.
economy. Fucking idiots, bro.
We're on a house of cards. I mean,
They're, they're idiots, and I think everything has to do with idiotic compassion. They might be trying to do the right thing and trying to help people, but on the flip side, causing all these fucking chaos. And I don't even think that's most of them. I think most of them are just evil fucking demons, whether they
yeah,
know it or not. And maybe I'm just dehumanizing them so I can have an enemy, so we can all focus our energy against them. Account suspended. That's probably fake.
yeah, it's probably a fake version of Carl Schrobb's account.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Things are crazy out here, man. It's yeah, things are crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this now.
I think it's just that we all gotta do as much of the survival stuff as we can, and um, just be ready for the great reset. And because there's definitely gonna have to be a reset, like because that's they've had control of the banking system for a long ass time, and they're just they're trying. Actually, it's kind of a good opportunity now, because this is a really good opportunity to take away the control from the banking system. And that's what this whole dollar vigilante and they talk about a lot. That this is actually in these cataclysmic moments, there's gonna be like a really good opportunity for people to make money and be on the better side of history because now we get to actually switch over, instead of because for this past hundreds of years we've just been kind of in this um, subjugated by the whole banking cartels.
Yeah, no. I don't know, man. I think the United States, well, California is fucked. That's why I'm glad I live in Oregon. um, I don't know, dude. I'm Trump needs to pull these Hail Marys, or I have a feeling California.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point in even if even if Trump is the real person who should get elected after if the whole voter fraud thing didn't happen, this whole year has been basically a setup for voter fraud. That's what Alex Jones was saying, that
Yeah,
this whole year is basically a setup for voter fraud because
it
they've
is.
created COVID,
Yeah.
and then and this was the left. It wasn't the right that created COVID. It was the left because it was in line with Fauci. It was in line with Chinese Communist Party, who's totally scandalous with Biden.
Yeah.
And so they're all in line together. They all have this plan together,
Yep.
and it's so that they can lay the groundwork to be able to take take back the presidency. I think they've been shitting their pants in this past 4 years that Trump has been kind of dropping bombs on them.
He needs to drop more bombs, bro. He needs to pardon everybody and put everybody else in prison and then leave chaos for the next administration.
Yeah, I feel like he's close and that he should just keep pushing and pushing and he might get through to some of the. I mean, he's got the SCOTUS, and so he should be able to get some groundwork there. But I heard that some of the justices and some of the legal people, they're just kind of preventing him from being able to arrest these people and all that.
Yeah, they're all in line with, yeah, they're all in bed with each other. But imagine though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would definitely be great if Trump wins, but I don't know. Actually, it could be really hellish too. But either way, it's going to be hellish. It
Either
just
way, it's gonna be hellish.
it's going to be just because if Trump wins, um, they're just going to keep annoying, doing more false flag, more. They're just going to keep harassing him.
Racism's gonna get worse somehow. There's gonna
Mhm.
be more systemic oppression somehow. Xenophobia is gonna rise by 1,000,000% again somehow.
Yeah.
I don't.
Whereas if Biden becomes president, we'll just slowly descend into our doom.
Do you want to take crack or do you want to take heroin? Ah, shit. Oh man, it's like, oh, can I meditate and do nothing? No.
Can we just not have any big government
Yes,
control?
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Can you just let us do what we want? And
Can you let freedom reign? No, fuck freedom. Okay, I guess I'll choose crack.
this is nice. When you type in Klaus Schwab on Twitter, you just see all this stuff about how, well, some of this is kind of totally,
For that guy who keeps fucking popping up.
yeah.
The Fourth Industrial Revolution. I actually read a book on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and it was written in 1990. And it was great because it talked about exactly what's happening on right now, how wealth and transfer is moving, how governments and power moves, and how society moves in and of themselves. Like all these people that are about to lose their jobs in the next decade, we've never had this shit. We've never had 20% of the 30%, 40% of the population without quote unquote work in order to do all this stuff that the economy requires.
Mhm.
So we move into unprecedented times, and the only reason they need a great reset is because they can't keep going on with this bullshit lie that we've been told. They just can't. It's impossible. The numbers are too high already. They're gonna break at any time. How many trillions of dollars are we in debt? $27.4 trillion in debt and counting. We It's insane. It's 120 something percent our annual GDP. So we suck at fucking credit cards. America sucks at credit cards, and the government's only spending more money. Shit's gonna break. They need a reset, or this game fails. The Monopoly game ends. Monopoly ends. I like that one. You don't have a choice. Bill Gates, 2020, and it's Hitler with Bill Gates' face and the mustache. It fits though. I don't know. I I think we should make some memes and just make Bill Gates a Hitler and see if the internet catches it. Yeah.
I think Twitter is fire, man. We should get on Twitter.
We should get on Twitter and start putting out fires, starting some fires, or like,
Well, I think it's all like all these social medias are like intertwined tools, and I think Facebook has the groups, Instagram has the memes, And then Twitter has the kind of the instant hashtags and communication. You know, I type in Klaus Schwab, and I definitely get more interesting results than if I had typed the same thing into Facebook or Instagram. I can see what everyone's talking about, like publicly. Like Twitter is all like everyone's just public. There's no like private privacy. So Twitter is more like revolutionary and kind of sharing the social messages that we're sharing and stuff. So
So we should get on Twitter.
yeah, like the way that some of the other people like We Are Change, what he does is he'll post some of these things, these articles that he talks about on his videos on his Twitter, like some of the key things, and then he'll talk about them.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, well, this podcast is developing. We're getting there. Yeah. Slowly but surely getting there. Timestamps is one thing, and followed by little edits here and there is another thing. And yeah, it's gonna get great. It's gonna be good. We gonna be good. All right, man. We've been talking for hours now. Let's end this on a good note. You fucking just made me fuck California. It's a good thing I live in Oregon.
Well,
Is there a silver lining to all this shit?
well, the going gets when the going gets tough, then the tough gets going. So it's still kind of unpredictable. Um, but yeah, we should always just be kind of have a little bit of stuff ready to
I think I know how to find the silver lining in this.
yeah.
Similar to what we were talking about last time. The world is burning. You have 1 week to reach enlightenment. Go do it.
No, I mean that's definitely true. Yeah, like one way or another, you gotta always be. That's something I gotta do more. Be more conscious of death and stuff. Because it can definitely happen anytime, even before the new order takes you down. It's more of like I think us will be pretty much okay. I don't know. Probably I don't know. I don't want to say any of that stuff because we might not be okay because the transitional period is pretty dangerous. So we got to be ready for that. But other than that, um, you know, at least we won't be in 2050 where people will, everyone will be Amazon workers. And if you post a bad Twitter message, you'll get your freaking brain turned off by the Elon Gates brain chip.
You will be lucky to be an Amazon worker because all those will be taken care of by robots. So to be an Amazon line worker, it's like winning the lottery in 2050. Damn, it's the
Or
kind of future is a possibility, man. And but
yeah,
yeah, I think the whole realizing that this is all temporary existence, that your existence is temporary existence. It's a good thing, and I at least try to bring myself back to it a couple times a day. The meditations really help. The ones where you're doing the breathing exercises and you really hold your breath, and you're realizing that it is truly that this breath is the only thing holding you into this reality. And once you stop breathing, that you're not really part of this reality anymore. And so just being extremely grateful for having this breath is a definite plus in my opinion. Extreme gratitude just for breathing. I don't think you can make it any easier than that. But yeah, we
yeah,
have 1 week to get enlightened. Next time we talk, Ahmed, both of us are going to be enlightened beings with eons of experience. Agreed. Good.
yeah.
Good.
Hopefully, a few more retreats. Yeah, well, we got our
Good
Thanksgiving
week.
break ahead of us, so maybe I'll have some time to take a day off and do that. But
Take a day off and become enlightened. Take a day off from a busy schedule to become enlightened. That's all you got to do, man. All it takes is a day. A very good, focused day.
yeah, you got to really. I think that's a good exercise. That's a good mental exercise, though. To that's a really good silver lining. Yeah, you can just imagine Bill Gates pointing a vaccine to your head, and just watch it getting closer and closer. You know that that needle is going to get close to you. You know you're going to have to take it eventually. There's no way you're going to Thailand without it.
I'm becoming
And
Goku. I'm blowing everything. No, wait, no.
and you know you don't know what's going to happen to you. But even
It's
other
true.
than that, there's other stuff behind it. I mean, there's interesting graphs on like how over time um, the tax rate has actually been equalizing for all the different classes. Why has it been equalizing? Why aren't they taxing the wealthy more? Corporatism, technocratic corporatism is increasing, and we don't see it disappearing. And I don't see any way that it's gonna
My,
reduce. You know that?
my problem is why have they been taxing regular people more?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what's up with that? I understand.
We're getting
Rich
less
people.
saving. Like that's one chart, and then there's another chart that's also depressing. Is that the whole? There's so many, but you know the silver lining from all this is just that the whole Buddhist notion of letting go of all our desires and letting go of all this because it's kind of unimaginable, unmanageable to have all so many too many desires, you know, and you don't need it anyways because as seekers of enlightenment, thank God that enlightenment doesn't require like money. It doesn't require. It requires less. It requires less. It doesn't require more. You know,
Yeah.
all it requires is that you just maintain a okay nutrition. You know, the Buddha didn't get enlightened until he accepted the milk that that random dairy woman was
Really?
uh, passing by. Yeah, like he was sitting under the Bodhi tree for 7 days and stuff, and he was like, okay, and like I don't know, sixth day, he was he was like pretty much like kind of forgetting the story, but I'm not sure if it was before this 7 day period or if it was during the 7 day period, but right before the I think it was right before the period of this 1 week period that he was meditating under the Bodhi tree. Um, he was doing ascetic practice where he was pretty much starving himself until to the point that he could touch his spine through his stomach, and uh, and he just wasn't able to focus as much on his meditation. He was like, ah, and at that point, like some random girl, um, she dairy woman nearby, she was passing by and she saw him. Oh my God, are you okay? And here, let me give you some. She gave him some. She offered him some ghee, some of that fresh ghee, which is
Yak's milk?
yeah, yeah, but it's like super nutritious, because
Mm.
it's like it's in this but we're talking referring back to what we talked about last week, how those farmers that were kind of further away
Oh, okay.
from electromagnetic grids having those healthy ass cows with that healthy ass milk, and and he drank some of that and he just got fully replenished and rejuvenated, and he was like, I'm going to sit in this under this Buddha tree. I'm not going to get up until I get enlightened. And then he just like sat through that, and on the sixth day he just was taking a break and he looked up uh, at the as some sort of falling star, and then he went back into meditation, and then he got enlightened on the seventh day.
That's pretty cool. It's like, oh, I opened my eyes just to see a falling star.
Yeah,
Now
just
it's
to,
time
like
to get.
there's a lot of like themes to all that whole story. The first theme is you got to neutrify yourself on a basic level, but also just think about how hard he's pushing himself.
Hmm.
No one's pushing themselves that hard, so
No,
you got to push yourself really hard, but you also got to um, be neutrifying your body with good stuff.
right.
It doesn't have to be a ton of good stuff. It just got to be a little bit of good stuff. And then the last theme that he was talking about, where that was in that story where he looks up at the sky and he just takes a break. Don't push yourself to the point that you're all tight and wound up that you can't focus anymore, and kind of let go of his mind a little. Got abreast of his surroundings and stuff, and went back in, and then he was able to penetrate all the way.
Good man. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm even starting to pay more attention to my breath just when I do sit there. You should Korea, man. I'm gonna have to advise anybody listen to this. I'm gonna advise them to do Isha Kriya. If you've never started a spiritual practice, That's a pretty easy one and very powerful one in my experience. Like, yeah, but I there's so much in meditation though. Like, there's so much. There's so to these little tiny little flickers of the breath that we do and how they affect our body. Like, there's so much, and it's awesome. I actually enjoy just exploring these realms and these. It's not really feelings, these sensations, these possibilities, these energy pathways. Like, they're there. They're cool. They're interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
we gotta have a separate topic for that.
yeah.
Definitely, I think I've been kind of better at meditation, and then sometimes I've gone worse because I kind of haven't been, and then I get better again when I practice. But there's a lot of details to the breath. We definitely gotta have uh, a session on that, just
Just
of
on
all the
breath.
gradients. Hmm.
Interesting. But yeah, man. Anything else you would like to add as we end this talk?
Not much, just
We went through a few things.
yeah, love yourself and love everyone else, and but don't try to figure out what that what that realistic love that it's not like a Disney-esque love,
Right.
try to have a good
Ex-
love for everyone. And
Expectations are always a bitch. In all honesty,
mm,
they always lead to lots of things. Delusions. They lead to anxieties. They lead to very rarely do these kinds of expectations actually lead to anything good. In my experience, in my biased experience. But yeah, gotta be careful with expectations. You were saying.
yeah,
Yeah. And I guess that's it. Take care, everybody. Stay safe out there. Whoever wins the election, it doesn't really matter. We still got to do this. We still got to bring ourselves out of all this chaos that we're kind of going through. And let's hope things get lighter later on. And peace, everybody. Have a good night.